here's section 1 at normal and then slow speed. So we're going to break this up into 4 boxes, and in the first one we play this. Let me slow that down for you. A few things I want to call out here. First 3 notes are palm muted, but also I'm doing this movement with the downstroke. Okay, watch my right hand. All but the last note are played with the downstroke. You're sweeping through it. Now, a lot of times you're going to see people play this a little bit differently. So instead of playing the 7th fret of the high E, they're going to replace it with the 12th fret of the B. And so they'll play it like this. There's nothing wrong with playing it that way, but when I watch Nuno play it live, he does it the other way, the way I show you. Then in the second box, we play this. Now here's the third box. Let me slow that down for you. Then in the fourth box we have a little open A and D. You can skip that, but you guys know that I like to get every little nuance in the playing when I do these lessons. You can certainly skip that, but it was a little transitional thing that Nuno had in there. Whether it's intentional or not, I don't know, but it shows up there. All right, here's the section one more time at normal and then slow speed. All right, let's move on to section 2. Here's section 2 at normal and then slow speed. All right, we'll break it up into 3 boxes, and in the first one we play this. That's the same thing you played in section 1 in the first box. Then in the second box we play this. Let me slow that down for you. A couple things I want to call out here. After you play the 9th fret of the E string the second time, you hold it for a little bit before sliding up to the 12th fret. And you also stop that 12th fret immediately after playing it. Okay? Then we have a quick slide from 12 down to 4 with vibrato. Okay? Then in the third and final box we play this. So a few things I want to call out here. That first note at the 5th fret of the E string, you're going to hold that for a little bit before sliding up to 7 and then do a whammy bar dip. Then you're going to hammer on to the 9th fret, pull off to the 5th fret, and use your whammy bar for the vibrato. You have the little open A and D at the end. Let me play that last box again. Okay, let's tie those 3 boxes together and play section 2 one more time at slow and then normal speed. Okay, let's move on to section 3. All right, here's section 3 at normal and then slow speed. All right, let's break it up into 5 boxes, and in the first one we play this. Those are basically the same notes that we played in the first box of sections 1 and 2, but now we're playing it the other way, the way that people typically play it, okay? And again, I'm doing it this way, I'm tabbing it this way and playing it this way because it's how I see Nuno play it live, but certainly you can play it with the other fingering and you'll be just fine. Then in the second box we play this. So you're going to play 14th fret of high E, and then 14 again, pull off to 10. Notice that after you play the 14th fret the first time, you stop it. You don't let it ring out like this. You stop it. Okay? Then in the third box, we play this. It's basically the same thing we played in box 2, but you replace the 14th fret of the high E with the 15th fret. Then in box 4, we play the same thing we played in box 2. And in box 5, we played the same thing as box 3. Let me play this entire section one more time at slow and then normal speed. Okay, let's move on to section 4. Here's section 4 at normal and then slow speed. So we'll break it up into 5 boxes, and in the first one we do this. Now you'll notice my fingering's kind of weird there. I started off by pulling off from the 13th fret of the high E using my ring finger, okay? And that's simply because where I left off with the last lick, when we did that, it just seemed more natural to start like that. All right, now when we play the second half of box 1, that's a little bit faster. The timing of that, it's almost like they're cramming those 4 notes into the space of 3 notes. Okay? Then in box 2, we play this. Same thing there. The first 4 notes are a little bit faster than the other 3 notes. So the first 2 boxes together. Then in the third box, we play this. Then in the fourth box, we play this. And then box 5 is simply... Let's tie those 5 boxes together and play section 4 one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 5. All right, let's play section 5 at normal and then slow speed. Now there's really not a lot to explain in this section. If you're going to tackle this whole solo, it should be pretty easy, but I'll play it one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 6. All right, here's section 6 at normal and then slow speed. This one should be pretty easy. I want to call out a couple things though. You'll notice at the beginning there's a little ghost note slide up to 12th fret. That's just kind of happening as Nuno's getting ready for the next part. He kind of slides up. You don't have to do that if you don't want. And then 12, 14, 16 on G is hammer-ons, okay? And then... Now you'll notice with the tab, it looks like you start with a mild vibrato at the 15th fret of the high E and then make it a little bit wider. It's because the note starts to die out. So you want to make sure it keeps going by adding the vibrato a little bit wider, a little bit harder, if that makes sense. The other thing I want to call out is that when you watch Nuno live, he plays it a little bit differently. He'll play the same notes, but instead of playing 16th fret of the G, he'll play 12th of B like this. As opposed to same notes, but when I listen to the record, it sounds like he's doing hammer-ons there. But play it both ways, and whichever way you think sounds and feels better, do it that way. All right, here's this section one more time at slow and then normal speed. Okay, let's move on to section 7. All right, here's section 7 at normal and then slow speed. Now this section again should be a simple one. Shouldn't need a lot of explanation if you're tackling the whole solo, but let me play it one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move on to section 8. All right, here's section 8 at normal and then slow speed. Now the first box is optional. Okay, it's in there. It's you can hear it in the mix. It's palm muted, open E and open G before going into. Now if I combine the last section with this one, it sounds like this. Okay, here how that's in there. It's very faint in the mix, but it's there. You can skip it if you want. Then in the second box, we play this. Then in the final box, we play this. Now the only thing I want to call out here is when you get to that 15th fret bend at the end, you hold it for a little bit and then add vibrato. Okay? Now the last thing I want to call out here, and I don't recommend doing this, but I'm going to show it to you, okay? Because it's in the solo. As you can see how I added at the very end, right? That's in there. Go back and listen. It's very faint in the mix. You'll hear it. So he'll go. Now, again, I don't recommend you play that because once you try to mix it in with everything else, it sounds kind of funny. All right, but again, you guys know I like to teach you every little nuance in the solo, so I recommend skipping that part, but go back and listen and you'll hear it in there. Now, I'm not sure if Nuno really intended to do that, or maybe it was the result of comping wherein he was mixing together different takes of the solo and cutting them up and splicing them together. But either way, it's optional. You can play it or leave it. All right, let's play section 8 one more time at slow and then normal speed. All right, let's move to the final section. All right, here's the final section, section 9 at normal and then slow speed. We'll break it up into 4 boxes, and in the first one we do this. Then in the second box we play this. So a couple things I want to call out here. With that first bend at the 15th fret, when you get to the top, hold it for a little bit, then hit the note and come down. Okay? And then when you see the slide from the 20th fret to the 12th, that's really quick. Now I wouldn't get hung up on sliding it from the 20th fret. When I slow down the original, that's what I hear, but you can certainly slide from almost anywhere above there in that vicinity and you'll be fine, okay? Okay. Then in the third box, we play this. Then in the fourth and final box, we do this. I'm always tempted to add vibrato there. But either way, if you do that, you should be fine. All right, let's play this section one more time at slow and then normal speed. let's wrap it up. All right, that was my video showing you how to play the guitar solo from Extreme's Rest in Peace. If you found it helpful or informative, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and please hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will attempt to answer them as time allows. Until next time, rock on.